Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming to the town council meeting of May 13th, 2025. The council, we have been here for about 45 minutes already in executive session, so I will go ahead and make a motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa? Aye. Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We are out of executive session. We have all five councilors present this evening. And I will move on to our first order of business, approving the minutes from April 22nd. Does anyone have any edits to the minutes from April 22nd?
The only edit that I have was on, sorry, I didn't have time to bring up.
Okay, I got it.
There was one of the items when we were supposed to, it was the item for the contract for the garbage.
Yeah,
And it just says that it doesn't give a description of actually what it was, the agenda item was. It just says this item was tabled until the next meeting. For context, I feel like it should say the contract for, does that make sense?
yes, I'm just trying to find which fire talking about.
Number 7, I did.
Table set, okay. So we're just gonna modify, the number 7 to read to table. Is that this item, whatever the agenda item?
Signing of the threshold contract.
Yeah. Okay. Great, any other ones?
No.
All right, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt the meeting minutes from April 22nd, 2025 as amended, as we just discussed.
Second.
Thank you, we have a motion and a second, all those in favor? Say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Abstain.
Done?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Okay, moving on to the treasurer's warrants, we have a treasurer's warrant. I'll make a motion to sign the treasurer's warrant in the amount of $1,122,000, $1,122,166.90, dated May 8th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the warrant? All those in favor of signing the treasurer's warrant, say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. All right, moving on to the reports and presentation section. Number 1, we got a Patriot Award with Peter Brunette. Here, turn that over to you, Tim.
Madam Chair. Town Council, good evening. I'd like to ask Officer Jason Leon to come up for us and start the presentation.
Good evening, everybody.
Just speak right in that mic.
I was just gonna yell at everybody there, right? Good evening, everybody. My name is Jason Lejean. I'm a patrolman here at the police department. For those of you that I haven't met, when I'm not wearing this uniform, I'm generally wearing my Army National Guard uniform. I'm a drilling member of the 262 Engineer Company in Sanford. I'm the company grade warrant officer for them. I do construction engineer and been serving for roughly 13 years now. The relationship with your employer when you're in the National Guard of the Reserves is very difficult. It's almost like a second marriage. You know, you're gonna come home late at night, you're gonna miss weekends, you're gonna miss holidays, you're gonna miss birthdays, stuff like that. And I've had a ton of employers over the years, some places that I've had to leave voluntarily because my service put a burden onto them, or the burden we didn't quite see eye to eye on what the rights of the employee were. I can't say anything but good things working for Chief Ruger here. That's why we're here tonight. So the ESGR is an organization that gives out awards for exemplary employment. So we're here to give an award to Chief Ruger. Little quick backstory. Being a warrant officer, there's quite a bit of training involved. Chief Ruger hired me on, and essentially after going to the academy for 18 weeks, right at the tail end, I found out that I needed to attend 6 months of training. So within my first year of employment, I was basically absent. So thank you for that support. Not everybody would be so willing and respectful. The entire department's been really good, but It's a task that Chief Ruger took on and, I'll be forever grateful for. So I don't think Peter is here, right? It's Bruce, right?
Bruce.
So, Bruce Thompson is the, representative from the ESGR. Originally it was supposed to be Peter. Peter's, fallen in, so I'll turn it over to Bruce.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
All right, good. My name is Bruce Thompson. I'm a member of the Employer Support of the Garden Reserve in New Hampshire, but I also covered Maine and a few other states. I was a state chair in New Hampshire for 6 years. That's all they allow you to do, term limits. And now I'm the Northeast Region Board of Directors member, so still stay busy. But ESGR, anybody here familiar other than him about ESGR? ESGR came about in 1972. Same time the draft ended and the all-volunteer service started. It became obviously for various reasons. It's an organization that we fall under the Department of Defense. We also do, as we recognize supportive employers. We also advocate for the National Guard and Reserve members, and we also intervene if there's problems. One of the things that we do, like if an employer has questions about employment or what they need to do for that service member, what they can't do, we have ombudsman trained in USERRA, Uniform Services Employment and Reemployment Rights Act, and that class. And what this is a law that is in place, and it came about in 1972. Anybody realize what the number of people actually served? 29% of our population was on active duty or in the reserves during World War II. Vietnam, not that long ago, was 9%. Do you know what it is today? What percentage Guard, Reserve, active duty of our population actually serve? Less than 0.5%. So think about that. Thank him for stepping up, because that's a tough haul. But many times an employer doesn't know what they don't know. Same way with a service member. We go to drills, educate the service members and stuff like that. A lot of times we'll, if we have an employer, if you got a question, just reach out to us. You can go to our national website, www.esgr.mil, and there you will find different tags you can sign on to. There's one on there for each state. There's also one for our ombudsman. You can reach out to them, and you can reach out to the state, because every state has 2 or 3 ombudsmen as well. We're fortunate in New Hampshire. Our ombudsman, I think, started in 1972. And one of our people, he's retired from the US Department of Labor. You might know a little bit about that. So he's very much in demand, so to speak. And then the other part of what we do is recognition. Recognizing the employer of the service member for their support, because believe me, he's hit it right on the head. You know, it's difficult sometimes. He's in a very job that requires him to be here. And you can't hire just somebody right off the street. You know, so it's very important to have that support for not only him, but also his family, because they're part of that too. But why we're here today is the recognition part. The chief will come up. This is the fun part of it. This is from the Office of Secretary of Defense, Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve, recognizes David Ruger, South Berwick Police Department, as a patriotic employer for continuing and strong contributions to national security and protecting liberty, freedom, and supporting employee participation in America's National Guard and Reserve Forces. And this is signed by our national chair. He used to be the #1 guy of the National Guard Bureau. And also is signed by our executive director, Captain Bess, who owns a home in Portland, Maine. And he's out of Washington DC right now. His first duty station, of course, is in Brunswick, Maine. So thank you for your support, because without it, you know what would happen? We'd get out. And who loses? We all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm not gonna try to take your hand with this one, because it's a big one, but for record, when you commission as a warrant officer, so of the 1%, there's another 1%. It's they call us ghosts, warrant officers. There's not many of us. I'm like one of 2 in the entire state right now. But this is a coin from my commissioning class, and you're supposed to give it to somebody who's either inspired you or helped you get where you are today. Normally we would shake hands with this, so I'll just hand it to you. I don't want to hurt you. It's kind of big. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That way, if you, our website is on there, if you got any questions, you can reach out.
Excellent.
This is also something else that we have. It's called a statement of support for the Guard and Reserve for the South Berwick Police Department. We recognize the Guard and Reserve are essential to the strength of our nation and the of our communities. The highest American tradition, the patriotic men and women of the Guard and Reserve serve voluntarily in the honorable and vital profession. Was trained to respond to their community and their country in the time of need. We reserve the support of every segment of our society. If these volunteer forces are to continue to serve our nation, increased public understanding is required for the essential role of the Guard and Reserve in protecting our national security. Therefore, we join other employers in pledging we will fully recognize, honor, and comply with the Uniformed Services Employment Reemployment Rights Act. We provide our managers and supervisors with the tools that they need to effectively manage their employees who serve in the Guard and Reserve. We appreciate the value of leadership and each skilled service members bring to the workforce, as they do. Will encourage opportunities to employ guardsmen, reservists, transitioning service members, and veterans. We'll continue to recognize and support our country's service members and their families in peace, in crisis, and in war. And this is signed by the national chair. All right, and a place for you to sign. With the company name.
Right there.
Anybody have any questions for us?
Thank you. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your service and your service.
Thank you for all the support.
We all
I
serve,
appreciate
you know, and we do have people that serve in the SGR that never served. And we value them because they sometimes think of stuff that us military types don't think about. So it's very helpful to have. They go for that. That's yours.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
One for the department, one for your graduate.
Absolutely. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bruce and those of you from ESGR tonight, thank you for being here. Officer John, thank you, and Chief Ruger, congratulations. I expected nothing less than for us to be awarded, for you to be awarded with us. Thank you. All right, so moving on to our next report presentation, we have Tim here this evening. Come on up, to give us an update on Great Works Regional Land Trust. Hi, Tim. Thanks for being here.
Yes, hi. My name is Tim Smith. I'm with volunteer with the Great Works Regional Land Trust. And I appreciate being here this evening. We have, the Land Trust has put into the Lands for Maine Future Program, 2 applications for land acquisition in South Berwick. And they have requested a municipal letter of support. This is my mistake that it's so late and I'm a little bit tardy at this. because I originally thought when they said a municipal letter, I felt the Conservation Commission would suffice because there was no money involved from the municipality. So, but they informed me a little bit over a week ago that they needed a letter from you. And the timeline is tight. I was up in Augusta today presenting the projects to the LMF board. They're gonna meet on Thursday, 2 days from now, and make the decision. And one of the questions I got asked was, do you have the letter from the town council? And I had to say, well, I was gonna talk about it this evening. So these are two projects, both in South Berwick. One is on Cox's Pond, just south of the pond, with a right of way right off of Route 91. It's 24 acres. The other one is off of Old Bennett Road, towards the York end. I think you can put it, I have a map here.
Thank you.
Yes. The Cox's Pond one is the one as I'm looking at it on the left, and the one on the right is what we call the White Marsh Brook. The White Marsh Brook is 104 acres, so it's a very good sized parcel for us to be acquiring. Both landowners are willing sellers. The White Marsh Brook is owned by Eastbrook Timber out of Brownsville, Maine. They're a timber harvesting company. They bought the property, they harvested the timber on it, and now they're in the process of selling it. The 24 acres on Cox's Pond is owned by a gentleman in North Berwick. He bought it his father bought it in the 60s. He grew up helping his father log the property and manages the woodlot. And he could, if he's trying to, if he can, see it conserved and remain in a woodlot. So he's offered it to sell to Great Works. Both of these are in the Mount Agamentic, just to the Sea Conservation Focus Area, which is an 8-member coalition that's trying to conserve as much of that intact land as possible. So the questions is if you have any questions about this, both are wooded. Even the one that was harvested by Eastbrook Timber is in pretty good shape. I think you can go to the next slide and see an aerial picture of both maps. Yes, in this picture, it's the Eastbrook Timber is on the left, and you can see all the skidder trails where they have a lot of the harvesting. But it's actually much more forested than it looks like from this aerial photograph. And the one on the right is the Cox's Pond, the 24-acre Cox's Pond. And we own, or we are protected another 385 acres adjoining the one on Cox's Pond. So we've been able to protect about 50%, a little bit over 50% of the shoreline in this pond. And with the White Marsh Brook, this parcel is just at the very end of almost just a half mile in from Witch Trot Road in York. And if you've ever been there to the Ledges Golf Course, we have, the composting facility out there. It's all out here. The development is very close to this parcel. There's a gravel, there's a gravel operation out there also. So the Old Bennett Road at that end is very heavily used. So it is passable and usable. It's just actually the South Berwick zoning ordinance that is allowing for this opportunity because they have that requirement on the 6th house. You have to upgrade the road to town standards. And that would be expensive if you had to come in from the South Berwick line. But that's why we're able to get that property. He's asking about $375,000 for it. And we are asking the Lands for Maine's Future for half of that amount. And the one on Cox's Pond, he's asking $100,000 and we can ask up to 50%. So we're asking $50,000 for that. We have another funder that's been interested in funding a good deal of the rest, but they are of course waiting to see what the Lands for Maine's Future decides on their award. So it's kind of a critical point for those two projects. I'm happy to answer questions.
Does that allow access back to Cox's Pond?
Yes, we have access now actually off of Ropefields Extension, which was, again, mainly came about because of that when that development went in, the town worked with the developer and the planner to reserve a couple vernal pool and a couple roadside lots, so we have access there. It hasn't been developed, but you can walk in, but we're looking to improve that because we do have 2 or 3 parking spaces on Ropefields Extension. So you'll be able to access that block from there.
Let me know if you need help cutting the trail.
Okay, yeah, actually, there's a good deal of woods road. There's a good deal of woods roads there, so actually it looks pretty good, pretty nice out there. No,
So just so I can kind of repeat back, the situation is you, Great West Regional Land Trust is looking to acquire these two new properties using a grant that decisions are being made Thursday and essentially a recommendation letter.
Yeah, a letter of support that says this is- it has to pretty much say that the municipality is okay with this acquisition. They don't want, I guess that's what they were looking for. Again, since no money was involved, I thought the Conservation Commission could answer it, but that was not sufficient. And so here I am. And so,
Glad we were able to.
and you can show that,
Tonight.
yeah, so this is the Cox's Pond. It has a lot of, actually, it has some interesting thing. It has an old homestead on it. On the upper right with a well that we will take care of. It also has a number of very small quarries that have been hand quarried into the rock. I don't know why they were small and separated, but these have actually turned into significant vernal pools. Maine Inland Fish and Wildlife has come down twice, once a May a year ago, and then just a month ago. And we're very impressed with both these parcels. And that's why I think we have a chance, the Lands for Maine Future Program, because of the Maine Inland Fish and Wildlife support. And this is White Marsh Brook. And that's actually the brook. You know, drains into the Great Works River and the Salmon Falls estuary. Again, the thing about this is the size of the parcel, 108 acres.
Anyone have any other questions for Tim? Thanks, Tim.
Well, I have just one question for you. I see you're gonna decide later in the meeting. Should I stay for that, or you, everybody answer all your questions? No? All right, thank you very much, and again, I appreciate the short notice.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was just saying it's okay for all. Okay. All right, that wraps up our reports and presentations for the evening. Up next, I have public comments. Is there anyone in the room that would like to speak about anything that's not on the agenda? If you would like to, please come to the podium. Go ahead. State your name and address for you, Bill. Thank you.
Yeah, Brad Christo, 195 Oldfields Road. I sent these two letters to the council a while ago. This one's May 1st. And I just want to thank Tim for acknowledging them and making us aware that he is aware of this particular situation and they're very concerned. This is about the People's Veto petition drive. Dear council, as well, excuse me, well, here we are again. Expending energy to protect ourselves from actions devoid of current coherent policy, this time from politicians convening in Augusta determined to update state allocated financial resources for our municipal and school budgets. I find it amazing, and if not shameful, that elected officials are willing to place in jeopardy funding for the basic services of citizens. Then again, this behavior is becoming an unfortunate trend, which from my perspective needs some deep introspection. After efforts to compromise on a supplemental budget failed back in March, the governor signed into law a 2-year, $11.3 billion budget that maintained operation of current government programs with no major cuts or tax increases. This ensures funding is in place for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2025. A sound plan for good governance. Not so fast though. Enter the People's Veto petition drive, an LD 609, initiated by legislators intent on stuffing the gears of governance indiscriminately. It reads, quote, do you want to stop most state government operations and programs, including new and ongoing state funding for cities, towns, and schools by rejecting the state's 2-year budget, unquote. My answer is no. I decline to sign, and I urge others to do the same. Petition organizers must gather 67,682 signatures from registered Maine voters by June 18th for the question to be on November's referendum ballot. Yet there's a significant catch noted by Secretary of State Fellows. If the petition meets the signature numerical requirement, then implementation of the fiscal year budget automatically stops, meaning state government essentially shuts down from July 1st to the tally on the referendum in November. This is 4 months. How will the town manager and council plan for this potential financial disruption? And how will RSU 35 continue functioning? Now we have a minority of state politicians actively promoting the application of their oath to care for the welfare of their constituents. Instead of legislating in good faith, they've chosen to circumvent those duties by enlisting themselves as common citizens and not as representatives. Their choice of action is a petition drive, certainly their prerogative, yet indicative of their contempt for us. This choice could deliver us anarchy and chaos because without state support, we will scramble to find ways for funding our basic services. This is cynical, it's cruel, and no way to govern. Spread the word, no, say no to sign this petition. It rejects the empathetic values to foster healthy, safe, and prosperous communities. Thank you. I wrote an addendum to this that gets into the financial stuff, and you probably heard enough from my voice. And Madam Chair, if you're willing, would you read that second letter? You have
The
it.
addendum.
Thank you.
Sure, I'm just gonna read the body, I'm not gonna read the substance from it real quick. So just to clarify, this is the letter that Brad, Mr. Christo emailed to the council. I wrote you a letter on May 1st on this subject. I wanted to clarify the monetary implications this reference petition could impose on RSU 35 in the town. The total state contribution to RSU 35 budget is $14,569,347 for FY 26. As verified by the school board, the state disperses monthly their revenue sharing $1,214,253 to the school district. This commences on July 1st. If the petition receives the necessary signatures to enact the veto, then the budgetary shortfall would be this monthly amount at a minimum for 4 months. This $4,857,012 and counting shared between Southborough and Elliott. What are the mechanisms available to fund the school district if this disastrous petition prevails? This does not take into account state funding for each of these municipalities. As for South Berwick, the state provides $1.3 million annually or $108,333 for 4 months. This is a $433,332 budgetary shortfall, yet fortunately the town's undesignated fund can cover it. Although tiresome, it remains important to understand these financial issues. Otherwise, I truly look forward to a time of positive, thoughtful, and respectful governance for ourselves with less focus on a type that disrupts and divides us. Respectfully, Brad Stowe. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on anything not on the agenda? Anyone in the room? Anyone on the phone? Okay, we will move on to unfinished business. Number 1, the Emirates Bridge culvert update. Let us know what's going on, Tim.
Madam Chair,
And Jen,
members of the council.
thank you for.
I've asked the Deputy Road Commissioner, Public Works Director Jay to come this evening, to look at the podium. We put up the presentation, it's just a quick presentation, this is just an FYI. We present it to you so you know, first off, the amount of work that's going into this project. How and what it's gonna be done, and the cost of the project. I present it to you, the public, will also become informed, so. I will back you up with what you have, so. As you know, that culvert's been failing. Jay's crew rushed to shore it up this winter, with the hopes of getting 2 years out of that, and it failed much sooner than that. So I'll turn this over to Jay, go ahead.
Good evening. So as Tim said that, yes, we reached out, so it started in 2023, reports from the state of Maine Bridge Division that pipe is failing. So we put out for a grant at that time and it got denied. So I reached out again for this year and there's no grants available at this time, not until a year from now. So that being said, I asked if we did the work, we get reimbursed, and they said, no. So I tried, but anyway, so the next step was reach out to Calderwood Engineering suggested by DOT Maine, which we did, and that's the survey of the excavation and engineering part. So that was done. We got through the hydraulics and everything of the stream. We know what size culvert we need to put in place. And after that, because now we're gonna start the end of May, to start removing all the guardrails, cut all the trees for prep for installing the new culvert. And then we're gonna remove all the steel plates we put in, the HL 53 by 20 foot and 30 foot beams to expose the culvert. And then next step will be installing the dewatering bags. They come out of Texas. And pumps for dewatering so we can do the job. Then the actual excavation starts and removing the pipe. So in today's world, that pipe only had to be a foot below stream bed. The new culvert has to be 2 feet, so we gotta excavate an extra foot to put bedding down for the pipe to set on. The new pipe is 10.8 by 17 by 80 foot long. The old pipe is 6.9 by 10.5 by 76. So that all came into the hydraulics, why it's larger pipe. And then we start installing everything, all the backfill, the gravel, and then I'm gonna reclaim the road 300 feet on both sides, so it'll be 150 feet from center to bring the grade and the profile of the road to where it needs to be, and then install the new guardrails. So the cost of the project, the culvert itself is $67,000. The guardrails are $11,000. Gravel estimation, because I don't know what we're gonna get into when we start digging into the riverbed, is $30,000, and then if I don't know if we can reuse the common borrow from around the pipe. See what that, because we have has to be Halonite analysis. Just tell you what we can use for the gravel for compaction. Then riprap on each end, erosion control, and then equipment rental that we don't have. We have to, because we gotta do both sides, we gotta move to both sides at once, we gotta have double the equipment. That's where that cost comes in the rent. The aqua barriers, which I said for the dewatering, those are the bags that put in the river, the stream and against the river, is $6,000. The company that sold us the pipe has a crew that comes in and assembles the pipe. I estimate it's about 100 pieces that they have to bolt together. And then to make sure the culvert sets firmly in the riverbed, they told us to use flowable fill. It's a real loose concrete mixture. And then $25,000 for incidentals, front, fence and things. And the engineering cost was $35,000, which brings us to grand total of $279,000. I also reached out to Earth Construction out of Pittsfield, New Hampshire, and they said that job would be between $400,000 and $600,000 if they contracted us. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
I see that we have, the overall project is $279,000 from CIP. Is that gonna be pulled from this fiscal year or the coming fiscal year?
I can answer that. It's coming from this year.
Okay,
And so I had a CIP list of roads that I wanted to get done.
Yeah.
But they'll go on next year.
got it. So this was not a road we had originally, this was not a fix we had originally planned for this year. We got the money for it, we're just shifting priorities around.
Correct, because as Tim expressed, I was hoping to get a 2-year fix from doing what Calderwood Engineering suggested that we did over the culvert, but it failed. I think the winter had a lot to play with it, because when we put the beams in, we went through 18 inches of frost. Plus the freezing of the water inside the pipe working back and forth, weakened it faster than anticipated.
Does anyone have any questions for Jay?
You answered fine. We are gonna sideline a couple of projects, but it's worth it to get this done.
Correct, because we only had to close, I did all I could not to close the road.
Yeah.
But
I appreciate it.
sure you do, thank you.
Maybe I missed it. Do you have a time?
Yeah.
Timeline, yes, I'm gonna start at the end of May. And so the pipe is coming in a month sooner than anticipated. So I'm hoping to be done the 1st of August. think it's gonna take 4 to 6 weeks to complete this job.
Sounds like a big one.
And, yes, so we're willing to do it.
Thank you. Tim, yeah.
So, in talking with Jay, again in the budget, what I want to make council aware is obviously this was not any kind of a planned project. We also had several of the culverts in town that were in the same condition. Starting to fade. Also going forward, Jay, as Jay said, we shifted our priorities, but if anything else happens, we don't have the money to cover that. This will have to be out of the designated fund. And if for some reason that we have any other issues, Jay doesn't have the extra cash on hand. So the work he's doing, is gonna actually put us in your behind. It's not doing work, it's supposed to help someone here, which is fine. But again, you don't have any money if we have another issue. So at this particular point, be on guard that we could potentially throughout summer or something else fails, good way. The road has to be done. Jay's doing, gonna go with it. What are you gonna pay? Just, you're gonna finish
Plan on doing Boyd's Corner Road,
Boyd's Corner Road.
and I plan on completing the sidewalks that I've been promising, which is Lower Main Street from Garland Street up to where the state is going to take off on the project for the square, and then finish all the drive sidewalks.
So that's not what we had planned this year, but that's what he's gonna do with finish. So if we do those projects, this project, that's our capital for this year. So if anything moves any of the other pieces, I'll be coming back to you to talk about different sources of funding to. Just so they will.
So does that mean I would imagine that our CIP balance is roughly around how much we're spending on this project? Or a little bit more,
Well, it's a little bit more, because it
yeah,
has
you
this,
got the other things.
so it has this and different, the other monies for different stuff in there. But this is taking significant chunk of agent's money for an emergency job, we should have got it right.
And then in our budget that we're gonna hopefully be passing next week, we're only putting half as much back into that account for the next year. Okay, so that makes Public Works,
Well, again, it's risk management and
Yeah.
municipal government, so welcome to our world, right?
Yeah.
But I wanna thank Jay he's done a great job, he's put in hundreds of hours on this, I went out to the site, to the culvert. Jay's done a spectacular job, as we expect on the bus. And by him doing a lot of the work and his crew, it saved the town several $100,000, so kudos to Jay. They get part of all the time. Good job, Jay.
Thank you.
Jay,
Yes.
Thanks for that.
that's fine. I know a guy that could have built a beautiful stone bridge over that area, forgot the pricing at the time, no, I'm just kidding. One thing I did want to, that is a concern about the road being closed, is that people don't understand the local traffic only sign. So like, we have a local traffic only sign on Vine Street, and they're encouraging only local traffic. People were assuming that local traffic only meant the road was still open, and they were just asking that local traffic just pass through. So I'm wondering if we need to put a better signage. I mean, road closed means road closed, but people were confused about,
They only did it once.
yeah,
well, I think with this one, they're gonna find out real quick, they have to turn around.
right, yeah. So. I mean, I don't know how, and for the future people, just for convenience of people not being confused, it would be better if we could just. I don't know what to do. I don't know if you have any suggestions. I was gonna do some hazard over it, but.
Sure.
Anything, any other questions for Jay?
No, not on this subject, but before you sit down or before you leave, I just want to publicly thank Jay and the Public Works crew for the work they did down on the ball field. It's something that we've been trying to get down on that ball field for the last 10 years. And the crew knocked it out of the park. It is absolutely beautiful down there. They get the rest of the dirt in, it is back to a world-class softball team.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is,
You're welcome.
it is the talk of the towns already that have come into play.
Oh, well.
So, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome.
All right, so no action for us on this, this is just an update for the council and really more so for the public, so everyone understands what's going on Emery's Bridge Road. Moving on to unfinished business number 2, Wind Waste Innovations contract. Tim, I'll just kind of read the content I've got, so, over the past couple weeks, Tim has been doing a lot of work, pertaining to trash and hauling and contracts, pertaining to garbage. So this is, our new negotiated contract with Wind Waste, for our hauling fees for the next 5 years. So we are making a change starting in July, where we're going to be hauling, all of our waste, to Westbrook instead of Wells, so that's a little bit further. So there is an overall increase, but it's generally am I getting this correct? It's an increase, but then we did see some cost savings on certain materials, so it kind of shakes out to be, comparable to the contract we had before, is that fair?
No,
No.
so this is a significant increase, but it's
Okay, thank
cheaper than the other one, the old increase, the old contract we had. Was just for the days gone by, and nobody's doing that anymore, so, at this point, this is just the market value. And we only had 2 bidders, we had Casella, and we had Wind Waste, and Wind Waste was cheaper than Casella, so. So what you're seeing is the market value, the only other opportunity is that at the end of 5 years, if we, don't want to pay for this, the opportunity would be for us to purchase our own hauler. Have a full-time driver, haul the trash to our sites and do it. And there are other towns doing it. But for us, it just, I ran the numbers for both ways. And right now, this is by the amount of trash we're hauling. In 5 years, we might be over 8,000 people. And that may have a different impact effect, but currently, right now, this is the better to do it.
I said, we were there, and then we lost the turbo on the truck, and it just wasn't worth the money wise. This is the better bang for the buck. So, Madam Chair, I move that we authorize the town manager to sign and enter into a 5-year hauling contract agreement with Wind Waste Innovations.
Second,
Thank you, we have a motion and a second, any discussion, anyone? No. All those in favor of authorizing the town manager to enter into contract with Wind Waste Innovations, say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you for all the work you put into that.
Yes, thank you. All right, up next, we have unfinished business number 3, traffic light update. I'll let you do this one.
So I was out sick that day.
I'll let you do it.
Good sick day, one of the few sick days I take, Jennifer handled the meeting, so that's it, this is the town manager.
Thank you. On April 28th, Carlo and I met with Sebago Technics and MDOT for an update on the 2 traffic lights that we have going in town. They are working on completing the horizontal and vertical engineering plan, which should be completed by this week or next week. The horizontal is to figure out exactly where the yellow lines are gonna go, where all the parking spots are gonna go. The vertical is how deep the tar and everything underneath it is gonna be. They're concentrating on safer pedestrian walking and less conflicting traffic. When people have multiple driveways going out into a very small area, they're gonna try and reduce some of those entrances into Main Street, make it safer. And the next step that we'll be working on is the parking and sidewalks and finalizing those plans. Once that's complete in the June, July timeframe, they're gonna do an online public hearing where we'll have posters and things we can put online, Facebook, that will have a QR code and you can go in and learn more information about the project. We can ask questions. Then in the November, December timeframe, we will have an in-person public hearing or informational meeting here for the people to attend in person and answer any more questions and give updates at that point in time. At the end of this calendar year, it will appear to go quiet for about 14 to 16 months. At this point in time, MDOT will be working with surveyors, landowners, and to discuss getting driveway routes and complete land surveying for the project. The construction is still anticipated to start in 2028. MDOT at this point in time does not know if the state were to shut down, how it would affect their office. They don't anticipate closing, but they couldn't give us a 100% answer on that. MDOT still feels confident at this time that we will receive our 80% funding from the federal. They had 10% funding from MDOT, leaving the 10% share for the town. Anybody have any questions?
I don't, do you have any questions for?
The phrasing of public hearing, is that a state mandated public hearing, or is that just wording for public get together?
Informational for the public. They, I have seen that they've done this in other locations where the QR code, and you can look at maps and the design. And so I think it's more of a workshop and informational than maybe it's.
So when we hear public hearing, you know, I don't have to worry about the legal people saying, oh, we need the X amount of notice and all this. Really go
We'll
right.
certainly get the word out, but I don't think it'll be more of a workshop. Sorry.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the traffic light project? Good update. Definitely been looking to kind of understand where things are at, so that's a great update. Thank you. All right, we'll move on to unfinished business number 4, town hall update. And Tim, I'm assuming you're gonna take the lead on this one?
Yep, so, we're at the 50% mark of the architectural design and the work. So at this point, I sent it to you, the whole packet. More point. This is, first part is obviously. You see requirements of what they're doing, they're working on. Cost summary, I do have a cost summary. Good. So there's the design drawings, project progress report. That's what I sent, that's what you folks got, in these 2 documents. Look like that. They have those, they're lengthy. I'm not gonna go through it line by line for you to read. This is part of their contract, they have to provide this at 50%. Just if you go through it, it talks about the design, mechanical. Fire protection, all the pieces of the puzzle that they're doing. Show you some design page, the design pages, there have been a few changes. So that, this is part of just required architectural project that will move forward. It was given to me, given to us, because we don't have the construction engineer and owner's agent online yet, but soon they'll be picking up all the stuff and coming back to a report for you. The second was the actual architectural drawings, which is now you're beginning to see what projects look like and what possibilities, what things are gonna be, and what they're doing, ceiling tile and so forth. So again, just showing you the work that's been done, that they're at 50%. In the renovation drawings and moving forward. We've had several meetings with them on the interior finishes, and that's just ongoing, and we've also had several meetings with them on getting to this aspect here. Going forward, we'll hire the construction manager and the owner's agent, which will take over all these meetings, because this is, it's a lot for us to do. Couple things, there's been a couple of changes, minor changes on moving the wall here, moving the wall there for operation. Nothing that's cost us anything. We just got a price today of $3,500, $3,800. Remove the antenna off the roof, we're gonna take that down, so that's coming. We'll get that down. They've been here, the mechanical engineer people have been here.
Multiple engineers, yeah.
Multiple engineers have been here at different times, looking at the roof, looking at the popping ceiling tiles, looking at that. So we've done all that stuff. There's a lot more to go, but in the contract, they were with 50% they could do. So the next steps going forward is they'll continue with this. We'll get the construction manager on board, we'll get the owner's agent on board. Then will come the final design draft. And that's a final design draft, I'll give it to you, Oak Point will then be here. Construction man will be here, everybody will be here, that'll be a workshop, and we'll talk about the design, you'll have the final things, ask questions. So what I would tell you now, between now and then, the reason I sent you the actual renovation piece. It has a lot of the drawing, take a look and see if there's anything in there that you're not sure of, ask questions, this is a good time to ask those questions. So, go ahead.
The picture that Tanya has up right now is working with the security company and where the cameras would be, and the door swipes would be, working with them on making sure that we're gonna have all the security possible that we need for the building.
All right, so green will be security door lock, there'll be both hard white and digital, so you'll have a code you can get in. The cameras that are installed in the facility, so there'll be cameras now on the outside of the building. The beauty. So with the new security system, every office will have a panic button. Once they press the panic button will close and lock down the building. Will activate new strobe lights in the hallways and on the outside of the building to indicate the building's in alarm. At the same time, it will send a distress signal to Sanford 911, who will automatically dispatch the police, and the police chief, police lieutenant, and all the sergeants will get notified on their phone that there's an emergency here, as well as Sanford sending them over the radio. They all have a login that they can log into our cameras, take a look at it. When the alarm's activated, if it was the clerk's office, it'll say clerk's office, first floor, south side of the building. They can log in, pull up the camera and look at the clerk's office. So once it's all done, throughout the whole building, this will be cameras on the stairwells, security doors, and so on. That's, maybe you want to add another thing? Any questions or thoughts or ideas, anything I can answer, folks, that, is there anything you want changed, any ideas you have?
Do we have a rough timeframe in which we're gonna be doing the interviews for the owners? Representative?
Well, everything, I would say. So. The general contract closes on the 15th of the month. President, so I would say sometime everything should come together early June.
Okay.
And it'll depend, again, we'll be flexible, I know you got a lot of stuff going on. I know Jeff does, John, certainly we don't have to be fishing.
I'll work around it.
Okay.
I'm here to help.
So sometime early June, we hope to have everything by July 1st, because so from July to August, we have to get the final draft done. They all have to come present, make any changes, bring it back, so we have to have a couple meetings there. And then get everything done so that they finally get the final piece, which we can do.
Okay. Anyone have any questions for Tim on the town hall fee?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So Tim, while we're in the early design phases, I imagine feedback to Oak Point would be appreciated sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So if you have something, get us, just talk to us or whatever, so that we can keep continuity, and we'll certainly get it to them,
Okay.
we'll bring it up.
I just have, if you could reach out to them, I just have a couple of questions that I'd like, to get answers to, or if you would know the answers, that would be great. For the council, for reference, on page 64, there is the landscaping for out front.
Oh, yeah, okay, which one are you, project, which one are you on? Not this one, you're on the general report.
Yes.
This one more? Yeah.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
My immediate concern is they have proposed to run a walkway right through a memorial that we have in our front part of our town hall. So I'm just wondering, where we already do have existing walkways on one side of the front of the town hall. It would make more functional sense without disturbing the memorial that's in the center of the landscape. To actually get rid of the walkways out of the center of the lawn and just keep them adjacent to the building. That would just make more functional sense to me. So that would be, I just wondering, it's just odd that they're already working on the landscape design when you're building houses, landscape is kind of the last thing that you think about. So for them to already start proposing like possible landscape changes, I'd just like to get ahead of that.
Yep, so that, remember, this is all inclusive, this has to be, when you take that final vote, you take it out of draft to, okay, this is what we're building. They have to have that done, so we'll have to have that done. But yeah, I haven't really paid much attention to this piece of it, I've been looking at it. Again, I'm not right now, we're the owner's agent, absolutely, but I think this is draft, very, very much a draft, we can get this. If that's the council wishes, if everybody thinks that that's what it is, I'm not sure taking away more grass is a good idea. We have to add a walkway to the left anyway. On there, so we'll talk to them about that, I don't have, if that's the council wishes, we'll all agree to that, or that's something.
So, just real quick, Melissa, the memorial is in the big gray circle in the right in the middle, correct? Where is the memorial again? On the map.
If you're looking at the map,
Yeah.
it's more to the right of the stone circle.
Got it, okay. Yeah. Sorry, Tim, what is the feedback you're looking for? Just if
If
we're.
you agree with what Melissa's saying, council agree with that, or?
I think absolutely the monument for sure be remaining intact and not be touched, as to the layout of the sidewalks.
I know the monument's there, I don't know what it is, I think. I agree with you. I would like to know, sort of like what DeCarlo talked about last meeting. Understanding how people actually use the space. And to maybe better understand where the walking path, right now, to me, that makes sense. You go either straight up or you go off to the side, 45 degrees or whatever that angle is. Maybe going up and then right to the front of the town hall like it is right now. I don't know that people would actually use it, the sidewalks, so maybe better understanding the use of the space for walking would be beneficial.
So watching people use it, they actually do, so if they follow the walkway.
Do they?
But right now, the only walkway we have comes up. The only walkway we have, it comes up and goes along this way, around this side. This is grass. We don't use that entrance anyway, but we're going to. So that's why, so maybe we take maybe we move this up here to a different, some kind of different thing. My whole piece is, people do this, people come and sit on the benches here during the daytime. You got people visiting a lot, they're not there listening to music, reading about whatever. So I think, we gotta have some kind of traffic flow. And so I think it's manageable to get another design, maybe not quite as much, maybe something here, or. So I can. Have them. We can have them look at it. Propose some options on that, I'll propose options. That work for you?
There.
Is that in agreement, but I'll just have to propose some different options. And with the idea of how we watch it from, because I look out the window, working. And I do my work and I look out the window, and just don't want you to think I'm looking out the windows doing that. But we do see people like those lady today out there, just sitting and the earbuds on. The people use it, and I've seen people like cross the street and they follow the walkway, they don't walk on the lawn. So I do think the walkway will be important, but I'll ask for options and alternatives.
Just the other question that I had is, in looking at for council reference on page 56 of our supporting documents. The third floor auditorium, I was under the impression that we were doing minimal work to. But the bathrooms were going to be a focus with bringing up to ADA compliance. I was just wondering with bringing it up to ADA compliance, I just assumed it would be installing new fixtures and making sure that things were at certain heights and stuff. But according to the design, they're actually flipping the men's room with the women's room. So right now, the women's room is to the left and the men's room is to the right, but according to the design, they're proposing to flip that. So I'm just curious why they're doing that, if it's some sort of function or, you know.
Last
I-
interview.
Not that I know much about this stuff, but to me, putting plumbing together and it looks like all the toilets are very close together in the new design, so. But good question, and I wouldn't have noticed that, thank you.
Just curious, yeah. And then my final question is on page 55 for the design. In the original design, there was a new public restroom going in on the second floor. And I did not realize that it was intended to be a gender inclusive toilet area, where it would be a open room with 4 closets and men and women could use it at the same time. There I've had concerns, people, old fashioned values of using the bathroom is a little on the private side. And I'm just wondering if, and this could even be a cost saver, where we've never had 4 bathrooms on the second floor, and second floor will actually be less busier, where we're moving most of our business to the first floor, is if instead of having 4 closet, whatever they're called, closet stalls in one room, if we can just put a wall and maybe have 2 separate bathrooms, a men's and a women's, or if we could just have 1 bathroom altogether.
Don't think it was wide enough to separate them for the ADA compliance to get into the area. The stalls will go all the way towards the ceiling, so you will have a private spot.
It's like a more like European style, it'll be an entirely closed room in each stall and just a bank of sinks outside. I think the rationale at the time was kind of like. In this building today, right, wrong, or indifferent, it's mostly women and a couple of men. And, you know, being able to have bathrooms that are flexible depending on who's in the building at the time. This is also the only public restroom that will be in the building. No, sorry, that's a lie, not the only public restroom. The only public restroom on the second floor, accessible for council meetings and things like that.
Council wishes, I can ask, and I don't think one way or the other, but whatever you vote, tell me what you want.
They don't have any. Thoughts on that? I like it as is. I'm gonna stick with this.
I think there's gonna be a lot of kickback from our overpopulation that out. I'm a separate. That's me.
You want, Cameron or her?
Oh, or just one and it's occupied or not occupied.
Okay,
That's the word.
and
No,
you just had one enormous restaurant.
Hey, Ms. Mallett. You know, by code, there are a certain number of fixtures depending on the use, how many people usually have to have. That was the consideration that for the amount of floor space you have, and it's open to the public, you have to provide for it.
Thank you. First, you just jumped in and just clarified that there are code requirements for the number of toilet fixtures that may be a factor in how this is laid out, I'm not sure. Anyone else, Jeff or Bill, you guys have comments?
The one thing is, you know, if obviously it being AVA's mind is critical. I don't know if they're, I'm not really familiar with that particular space in the building. The storage room, like are the walls already there? Are they moving them? Could they take away from the storage space? Very separate ones. You know, in Quebec City, they've got restrooms like this and nobody seems to have a problem not barging in on somebody else when they're in the bathroom. So I I like it as designed, especially when it kind of provides everything that we need for code and all that. I don't know if that storage space next to it can be reduced to create a little bit more space in that room. But if the walls are where the walls are, then, I think as designed is fine.
Currently, that is the fault.
Oh, okay.
And also too, these are the only these are, just double checking, this is the only restroom on this floor, so this is the restroom that all the staff would be using on that floor, which again, my earlier point. Our current staff, and of course this can change, but the distribution of our current staff is, we have many more women than we do have men, and we currently have 2 bathrooms downstairs. That I think you guys are using as unisex stalls for the most part anyways, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is not a change from current practice in this building, to have unisex stalls.
I'm with Bill. I agree, completely. I feel like it was well said. I like it as designed. I see the point of for. We're not in this situation, but I feel like, I like the design as is. I don't know if it will be a quick. Redesign draft, so I'm fine with it as is.
Okay, seems like we have, that, let's, my council will stick with it as is. That goes for everybody?
Yeah, and I think another point too is there are. First floor, on the third floor, somebody who really wanted to use the dedicate when they could come here.
And also on the first floor, we have. 1 public toilet that we have today, correct? That's correct, it's just moving, okay. Okay, anything else for the town hall update? Okay. Alright. Moving on to unfinished business number 5, the credit enhancement agreement. For this is something, the council, we do need to go into executive session to get an update from Tim on the specifics of this contract, so. If you will excuse us for a moment, I'm gonna make a motion to go into executive session, subject to 1 MRSA 4056D, for contract.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa? Aye. Bill?
Aye.
John? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We'll be quick. We'll be back. Thank you for your patience. Should you bring anything?
Yes, that was.
Wait, you never go to the back row. What is it?
Wait for Tim.
There's doing something before.
Who's turning the ace?
Oh, yeah. It's okay, I go to my place, it's fine.
Actually.
It's wonderful in here, because my kitchen is hot in there.
It's not what I was like. I could.
Are we all on again? Okay. We're on. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion for us to come out of executive session. I got a second.
Second.
Thank you. John seconded that. All those in favor say aye, Jeff.
Aye.
Melissa.
Aye.
Bill.
Aye.
John.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We are out of executive session. Thank you for your patience. And that was all the action we needed to take for unfinished business number 5, right? Was to go into executive session, right, Tim? It's for.
There's a second.
Oh, there's a second item. Sorry. Thank you. Okay, so the council, we just met in executive session just to discuss a credit enhancement agreement contract application. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion that the council, table, the action on the credit enhancement agreement for tax map 1 lot 33-1, tabling discussion, for the council until May 27th, just our next town council meeting, just to allow for some extra time for the council to review that contract in more detail.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. All right, that takes care of unfinished business number 6, correct? That's everything. Okay. Up next, we have unfinished business number 6, which is a transfer station update. Tim.
So at the transfer station, we are putting in place, we're replacing we've got the cardboard compactor, which needs a new foundation and base. Jay put that into effect, put that in last week. The old plastic baler we're using right now, which is failing, purchased, for a trade-in, a new bale, a used bale, a used bale to us. But that'll be the other plastic bottle can, that'll be here probably mid-June. So Jay's putting in another new base for that, so those two will have new bases. Then July 1st, we'll be swapping to single store recycling, so that you'll only have 5 places to deposit stuff, the brush and leaves. We're not gonna take leaves after July 1st, we're not gonna take ash after. Leaves did a study on leaves, they fall from trees, they turn color, they look pretty, but they cost. So it costs us about $20,000 a year to haul all our leaves up here on Route 4 to,
You said,
Gazette. When Gazette will take them free, so just drive them over. So people come to the transfer station, dump their leaves. We have to pay Public Works to go over with the backhoe and a dump truck. Pay them all the time to load that up. Put it in the truck, cover the truck, drive up to Gazette to dump it, come back, keep doing that all year long. People can just take the leaves and Gazette. That's not that, when we ran the numbers last year, it was over $20,000 in labor costs. So let's get realistic about it. I mean, I don't, it's a convenience, I get it, but it's only a mile away, or 2 miles up the road. So we're gonna, and we will not take it hot ash after July 1st, because now, the state's passed the law. The environmental protection came down, and for us to dispose of hot ash after July 1st, we have to have it analyzed, make sure there's no contaminants in it, and we'd have to have it analyzed before it's done. So rather than taking hot ash, the last piece is we'll be changing with the hours, so the days will stay the same. It's gonna be, so right now, transfer station hours are Wednesday, 7 to 6. Saturday, 7 to 6, Sunday, 7 to 12. All we're gonna do, 12-hour days, but just too long for the help is. It's too hot for them. And you all said, it's too hot, the outside on hot summer days, cold winter days, 12 hours. Just, we're having a hard time getting help. Who help we've got, and all said that they wanted to go to. They would come on board and we did not have 12 days. So July 1st, we'll be going to Wednesday, 7 to 3. Thursday, this will get all posted, I'll have this all posted. Thursday is gonna be the late day, 12 to 6, we'll coincide with the town office being open. Up the minute in time, so that they can have, if you need to have the late drop off day. Saturday will be 7 to 3, Sunday will be 7 to 2. So they're gonna pick up an extra day. And we're just gonna have 8-hour days. And it's much more feasible for staff. And we looked around, no other transfer stations have 12-hour days, they're all,
Work-life balance, is everything to keep employees.
it's just, so. They're on senior age, most of the employees, 12 days, beautiful. 12 days, you probably. 12 days for them outside with trash, all the. So they're gonna move to make it 8 hours a day, and they pick up their, so now you have 2 days during the week. Wednesday, 7 to 3, and Thursday, 12 to 6. And Saturday, 7 to 3, they still get a couple hours on Saturday, we trust the family. And Sunday, 7 to 3, they don't get hours, they don't get weekend. That's the changes and questions.
Yes, I do have a question. Where we have a policy that you're not allowed to dispose of construction debris an hour before. The closing hours of the transfer station. We're now looking at where we're closing at 3 on Sundays, I'm sorry, I missed the hours, can you repeat the hours one more time?
Wednesday, 7 to 3,
Yeah,
Thursday, 12 to 6.
Yeah.
Saturday, 7 to 3. Sunday, 7 to 12.
okay. So. The council at one point decided for that policy of the no. Disposing of construction debris an hour before the transfer station closes, is that correct?
I don't know if it was the council manager, it's an operation thing. And
Oh, okay.
the reason we do that is because we cash up a register.
Okay, well, I'm just thinking that this is really crunching the time for construction debris to be disposed of for people.
So within 8 hours, you can't come in 7 hours?
Well, I mean. I guess on weekends, sure,
I just don't, I'm trying to,
yeah,
so if every other town around us doesn't do that,
right,
what makes us so special that we have to be open 12 hours so someone. Construction agree to get here at that 1 hour. Oh, so we have an issue. Transfer station, about a month and a half ago. People were lined up on the road at 5 o'clock. Waiting to get in. And they were mad. One lady got out of her car, grabbed her trash bag and threw it into the end. And Kenny, the supervisor, would go over and pick it up and talk to her. They called me up screaming and hollering. I had to have the police go. Because people can't organize their time. We're open 12 hours, folks. You mean to tell me you have to look at your watch and go, oh, I'm gonna be there and I gotta be there now, it's closing time. Well, those folks, they shut down at 5 o'clock, they still have to cash out the drawers, they have to lock up, they have to close up, put everything away. Takes them 5:20, so now, if in their good hearted nature, they say, till 5:30 to run all the cars, then there's more cars, then it never ends. So, I get it, it's probably an inconvenience, but people are gonna have to accept it and do something with it. Because unless you folks wanna take this over and tell me what to do with it, I am having problems staffing. 8-hour days are more reasonable than 12-hour days, and I'm just not sure why, if someone's doing a project, if they know ahead of time, okay, then we gotta get to the dump by 2 o'clock to get our construction to go, Saturday. If not, it's 2 o'clock on And I can't believe that, I mean, I don't know. So then if they don't make it on Wednesday, they can go noon time to 12 to 5. So I'm not, I guess I don't see the issue. You see a bigger issue that I'm seeing, or? I guess,
No, I mean, this is, I don't. So starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, it's just hard for people. Some people just like to do their trash duties in the afternoon. I'm just trying to find the happy medium between making it convenient for our taxpayers, but also meeting the needs of the people that work there. Like, I completely understand like the hours and stuff, so I wasn't trying to start an argument
No,
or
no,
that,
no,
and I was just.
we just communicate back and forth, no argument, we're not arguing, we're just talking. So, no, Jerry, don't.
If I may, Councilor Cresswell, I hear you, I was looking at, the other way, I was waiting to hear first the 7 o'clock for people that, cause when kids were in our house, we're like, take the trash on your way to school, you know, and the early hours were helpful, so that's what I was looking on the other end. Maybe, I think that one of the strengths that Tim has brought to our town has been the customer service mindset. I appreciate the thinking of the employees, but also, I'm concerned about the taxpayers first. And, so I guess what I would lean heavily on is move with the hours for me, but also lean into that, customer service to see if what is being brought up, or like Melissa's bringing, are there consistent issues with that to then come back and assess as needed? I'm not want to speak for you, that's what I'm hoping to have, just, this isn't a closed door, it's a work in progress.
If we have a proposed alternative schedule that is kind of trying to strike this balance in the middle, where we used to have 3 days, we split them the third day across 2, like, and just be, I think what you guys are, what you're trying to say is just, let's stay open, and maybe Thursday maybe we might find that Thursday isn't the best second day, and maybe Monday should be better, like, is that kind of what you're saying, is just that we are implementing a change, and so with that, we should remain open to potentially, like, just modifying the change after the fact, depending on what we learn, does that make sense? Just like adjusting.
I'm saying, go with your plan, with the mindset of, you
We
know,
might need to adjust.
maybe people adjust. And maybe people say, no, I'll be here at 6, you know, but I think.
We're not gonna
adjust
make,
people's-
yeah, we're not gonna make everybody happy.
Exactly.
And I've been looking at this for at least a year now, been talking about this, we did talk about Monday. So the problem with Monday is that runs the transfer station employees said, oh, you're running 3 days together for it, that's really tough. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Okay, we won't do much. So I go to the transfer station every Saturday, or every Sunday. I'm big. And I've talked to Kenny, and I talked with Bruce, and I've asked them to talk about that with hours. Most of the people, there's gonna be people gonna complain, no doubt about that, people like you. But as far as, no one has said anything about the hour. What they complain about is the hour itself, that they just think that's stupid. Right, I don't think whether the hour is 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, or 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock. People just complain about that, well, I should just be able to dump it at 5 o'clock. No, you can't, it can't. So I think that's gonna be the issue, I haven't heard anything. This was not set in stone, I was trying to do this all at once, so that when I make these changes, it's more palatable for everybody. If you as a town council would like me to postpone this, wait, try to do something different. I would gladly honor that request. But know that I've been working on this for a year, myself and Jen, we've had hundreds of discussions about transfer station work hours. This is the best that we can come up with, it's gonna be right, it's gonna be perfect, people complain, absolutely. I'm just trying to figure out some way that I can keep staffing the transfer station, because it's tough to staff the transfer station. Tough staffing.
Sounds right.
I think, I understand Melissa's point, most people when they're working construction jobs and stuff, but it's well beyond 3 o'clock, so I think, but, you know, by the time I've gone to, if I'm doing a home project, by the time I've gone to Home Depot 5 times, got my coffee and all that stuff, it's gonna be well past that time anyway, you just have to dump the next day. I think it is more important that we have staff there to work versus having, that will allow availability versus, you know, just staying over an extra hour or two, each day. So I put all, you know, along the lines of what Jeff was saying, we're gonna get feedback from people and we'll hear pretty quickly whether or not something is working.
Oh, they're gonna be back, people are gonna be
Yeah.
upset because we're making a change.
I think they're gonna be.
And I'm all open to an alternative. So one of the big problems we did have that I first discovered, remember, skippers. And then for the longest time here, we were taking construction debris, and we still have contractors who show up from Dover, Rochester, Wells, different towns, no permit stickers, trailers full of debris, but we are to be dumping it for free. We don't accept commercial dumping for it. It's for residents only. It's, and any construction debris is, and we stop the outside of it, so. I don't know if that helps, but if you, and again, I will gladly entertain an alternative if you want me. We've looked at multiple hours, multiple times.
Yes, different variations.
I would just like to jump in and say, I think if the council is okay with this, that we can go ahead and stick with the hours that Tim has suggested, leaving it open to after feedback. Once it's changed to expect, we can adjust as needed. I'm just trying to be conscious it is 8:20, we cannot take up any new business before 9 PM, and we still have many things to get through. So, is everyone cool with that plan for the transfer station, and we'll adjust hours and stuff and if needed, but I think that there's definitely a conscious effort here to try to do two things at once, which is to accommodate our staff as well as accommodate our community to the extent we can. Okay, I'm gonna move us on to number 7, Community Resilience Partnership Grant. So my understanding is, there's a grant program through PDC, and there was a workshop held in the fall sometime. We held a workshop here at Town Hall for this Community Resilience Partnership Grant, to essentially ask the community what their thoughts were on how we should be using these funds, correct? And, the consensus of that, event was to use, the money that we would be granted through this, grant as, to fund the window replacement in this building. So I will just go ahead and make a motion to accept the $75,000 community resilience partnership grant, to be used towards the replacement of town hall windows during the renovation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Is there anything else I missed on that? Anything else we need to cover? Anyone have any questions or concerns on this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
John? Aye, motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Moving on to, number 8, special board member appointments. So the council met in executive session earlier this evening for a few interviews. And I'm just gonna deal with each one of these individually. So first, we interviewed Lisa Flynn, for the Historic District Commission. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to appoint Lisa Flynn to the Historic District Commission, with a term ending in June 2027.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa? Aye. Bill?
Abstain.
John? Aye. Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we interviewed Jacqueline Bousquet, I believe is how you pronounce her last name, for the Downtown Revitalization Committee. I will make a motion to appoint Jacqueline Bousquet to the Downtown Revitalization Committee as an alternate with a term ending in June 2026.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
I just want to speak for the record. Just for the public's sake. Counselors have the right and ability to vote the way that they want to. there's not a requirement to abstain if you did not make it to the interview.
Yeah.
Because we did get the, applications. I just wanna make that clear for the public, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to appoint Jacob Biscay to the revitalization committee. All in favor, say aye. Seth? Aye. Linda?
Aye, Bill?
I will
Okay.
abstain. No time.
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. And then our last candidate, Ryan Crosby. First off, I'm going to just, say that we did receive a public communication, pertaining to this appointment, from Tamara Steinauer. And any communication sent to the council, and the entire board is public communication, whether the words confidential or personnel issues are included in those. So that's a communication that will be included in the record for this meeting. Additionally, I'm gonna make a motion to table the appointment for Ryan Crosby to the planning board, indefinitely until we hear back from the candidate. He has some, family things going on over the summer, and we'll be back in touch if he's available again. I get a second.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of tabling the appointment for Ryan Crosby until indefinitely, say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Right.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. And last unfinished business, the Spirit of America Award. And I don't think we have nominated anyone. That's correct.
We've
Okay.
not heard from the public, if you need to know.
Yes. So just remind, the public, we have, what is the date? Before June 30th, if anyone has any, local organizations or local individuals they'd like to nominate for the Spirit of America Award, those need to be submitted before June 30th, and then those would be awarded at our annual town meeting next year, May of 2026. We will be awarding the Spirit of America Award recipient for 2024 next week at the annual town meeting on May 20th. Let us know if you have any nominations. Thank you. Anyone want to add anything on that one? Okay. All right, moving on to new business number 1, grant for patrol vehicle printers. Chief Ruger, I can see you getting up. You can come on up if you want. I'm just trying to find the page, sorry. So it sounds like there's a grant to get some printers for police cruisers, and this is using that. Will you just give us the
Yeah,
deal? Thank you.
so the the Maine Bureau of Highway Safety this is their last grant they're doing. So I had 14 days to write a 58-page grant, to submit to them. So what it does is, working in conjunction with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles, it works with a software program called eCitation, which is electronic citations. So during motor vehicle stops, if the person is going to be receiving a summons or a citation, they will actually use the program to do that and print it right in the car, and then they'll just hand it to people, so they're no longer handwriting summonses anymore. We are only one of 2 agencies that are not utilizing it in York County. We kind of been putting it, found this out just recently, and it's been on the back burner for many years, and we're finally I want to be able to catch up. And considering this is the last grant that's going to be out there, so I've got it broken down here. I don't know if you want the numbers. So we got the quote for 5 vehicles. It was $5,609.71. Out of that, once we receive those printers and they get installed by Patrol PC, I submit paperwork back to the Maine Bureau of Highway Safety, and they will resubmit a check back to us for $3,750. So in all retrospect, the printers for 5 of them in 5 cars will cost us $1,859.71. Or if we wait, it's gonna be $5,609.71 for this year's prices, but obviously with the prices of everything going up every year, it just could keep increasing. That's what it's all about.
Great, thank you.
Madam Chair, I move we approve the patrol vehicle printer grant in the amount of $3,750 from the Bureau of Motor Vehicles.
Second. All right, we have a motion in a second. Any discussion or questions for the chief? All in favor, say
Yeah,
aye.
I just have a quick
yes.
question.
Sorry, I was asking.
So Chief, there is, the whole thing about the grant is that, let me ask you this, how long do we expect this printer to last in the police cruiser? Like, what's the lifespan of these printers?
Ticket printer would probably last, it depending on how much use it has.
Yeah,
They don't use ink, so they're burnt in, so it could last anywhere from 5 to 10 years,
yeah,
depending on how much usage they get. Cause we can also utilize printers because they print on a full-size sheet of roll of paper. So if we go to a call that may require a, in-house trespass order or harassment order, we can actually print it from there without having to go backstage and type them all out and then bring it back to, the people that we're serving.
yeah.
So it all just depends on how much it's gonna be utilized.
Yeah, cause I'm all for modern technology, make it life easier for the police officers, getting things communicated faster to the BMV. But when you're given a grant and then the equipment needs to be replaced in 2 years and then there's no
Oh, yeah.
grant. You know what I mean? So I'm just making sure that there is longevity to adding this, I
Yes.
don't wanna call it a convenience, but something that's.
Many agencies out there have been utilizing these same printers from Patrol PC. And they've had no issues with them at all, or very minimal issues that were able to be fixed, because basically it's just a computer, it's a computer that you just plug it into your laptop in the car. So it's something that even I could even fix generally on a daily basis, so.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
I,
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0.
We'll go to court, get that
Thanks,
bad
Steve.
right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving on to new business number 2. Thanks for being here, Chief. New business number 2, Tuskegee Day proclamation. As many people probably know, we have a common ground steering committee that's been formed here in South Berwick. That has created a partnership between South Berwick and Tuskegee. The members of the common ground For anyone who's on Zoom, a computer died momentarily, so we have a little bit of a lapse in our recording, but we're back. Okay, and to catch everyone up, we're on new business number 4, quitclaim deed. this is an action where the town manager needs approval from the council to sign the quick claim deed for map 007 lot 34. Is there any additional context or anything you want to share?
This was a foreclosure that we had, from previous administration that we had negotiated a payment plan that was done by a legal contract successfully. I'll try to keep that.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to allow the town manager to sign the quick claim deed for map 007 lot 034.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Questions, discussion? All those in favor say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. And then our last order of business is the MSAD 35 validation notice of election. I'll go ahead and make a motion to countersign the warrant and notice of election for the upcoming school district 35 budget validation referendum on June 10th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. This is just action that the council has to take anytime an election is held on June 10th. There will be an election or a vote rather for the school budget referendum. Any other discussion? Questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Jeff?
Aye.
Melissa?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
John?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 5-0. All right. We are at the town manager's report.
On the highway department, what was Emery Bridge Road, who was Sullivan failure. The building transfer station compactor pads. And they posted Neal's Bridge, number 3311 to 22. Ponds in the area of Waterside Lane and Flynn's Lane for main department transportation. Due to that culvert on that road being compromised and failed. Police departments had 9 arrests, 5 accidents, 220 traffic stops. Which has led to a lower number of crashes. And as you know, safe-wise, as I said, the email to you, ranks up there, as the number 6 safest city in town in the entire state. Kudos to police department, everybody, job, anyway. Fire department had 19 calls in the last 2 weeks, 165 to date. The fire department for country of Chile, was interested in our religion and was sending us a contract. So what's happened is we put it on a website for a national deal. They get an 8% total of the cost. We put it on 30,000. Hopefully we get 15. The other way they do it is they drag it to the scrapyard for 5,000. So they get contacted by a dealer, fire truck dealer broker out of New York, who came up to take pictures of it on last Saturday, took it for a ride. He's actually a day trader on the stock market. He's from Chile. But in the evenings, and weekends, he goes around nation buys fire trucks, country of Chile. And he came to look at it, took it for a ride, liked it, looked at all the certification. Last Tuesday or Wednesday, they called and offered us 25,000. So we got it accepted. They're gonna pay, cost them about 12,000 to ship it to drive it. You ship, load it, fly that into Texas. They have to put on transport. The only thing the chief requested is, that I requested, is let's get us to Chile. He gets in the community, yeah, take pictures, send pictures back. And understand one thing, so, country of Chile, because down there in Chile, fire departments, military, part of the military. So the country buys with stuff, and so for them, it'll be a great truck, for us, it's outdated, don't know, but for them, it'll go easier. In honor of National Firefighters Week, we town administration, you folks as well. We presented the fire department with a specialty cake and recognition for all the work they do for us, and they're very appreciative. It was the annual meeting dinner, they had steak and stuff served, we gave cake, thank you for the service. This week is police, National Police Week, week after is National Public Works Week, so we're doing similar stuff with them. Code enforcement at 8 building permits, 1 plumbing permit, 6 certificates of occupancy, 31 inspection. 3 violations, and a historic district meeting will be on June 2nd at 7 p.m. Planning and economic development, the Shoetown Park cleanup was a success. And design workshop is on May 19th from 5 to 7 p.m. Planning board will be meeting on 5/13, the workshop in Lapkus. And the downtown revitalization committee had their first meeting. Transfer station, we hired a new employee, her name is Victoria Hayes, and she started on 5/11. We've had 5 pallets of televisions, 2 pallets of electronics, 5 Larson boxes of light bulbs, 3 ballast buckets, 2 lithium ion buckets. Total of 1,020 items were picked up since mid-December and get away with. Under.
Library had a book sale that was held the last week of April, and the Friends of the Library bring in just over $2,000 during that sale. Last week, they hosted a build-your-own Perry House, and that was also joined by the Soho Arts, and they were doing stamp carving workshop as well. Recreation, the new soccer program has been very successful for the spring soccer. There are 107 kids playing. And the summer camp is in full swing of getting ready for that. They have hired all of their new staff. The senior program, on May 20th, 44 seniors will be doing a boat ride on the MS Washington, Lakewood and Saukey, and they're gonna have an Elvis Presley impersonator. Wednesday, May 21st is the Memorial Day luncheon, and the 3rd graders will be walking over and doing their Memorial Day concert, for the seniors. That's great. They join that every year. The assessing office will be closed Tuesday, June 3rd through Friday, June 6th for training. And Verna is reviewing all of the exempt property applications that have been turned in. It was also Clerk's Week last week, and clerks did a lot of different fun things, right, for fun outfits, and Diane very much celebrated her staff. Annual town meeting, she's planning for the Central School Gymnasium, which will be on May 20th at 6 p.m. The school budget referendum has also voted on, which will be voting from 8 a.m. to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., sorry, Diane. June 10th across the street of the school. And finance, HR, 94 tax notices were sent out, and already to date, we have had 9 people already pay that down, so they have a few more weeks to pay that. The $6 million bond paperwork with legal has been completed, and our closing is scheduled for May 22nd. Tim and I have been working with Betsy, our HR director, on personnel policy. We have had 2 2-hour meetings with her, and we'll be having additional ones to pull all of that together. We'll be coming to you once that is complete. I have more. I'm gonna be scheduling all the department heads and having meetings with them to talk about wrapping up the current budget for fiscal year 25 as it comes to an end. And we talked about Smigo.
As for my office, myself and Jen have had 2 meetings with Lasso architects or town hall interior finishes. And had 2 check-ins with Oak Point. One was on the report you got this evening. I attended the SOAR district meeting. Discussion with topics of renting office space. Grant for them and their finances. I inquired about them coming to the report. They simply said, if you want to know about the SOAR district, you're welcome to go tell them.
I expect nothing less.
Alice Hill fence discussion with the neighbor, we have a neighbor that is lots. Having some issues, so we talked about potentially fence and or other solutions for the trash, the lighting, and so forth, which is fine. Trying to work. Monique Ward was given the first employee of the quarter award, we started this year. So I'd like to read briefly, the nomination for her. I'll just cut it short. There was stuff that she was said, but basically said Monique exemplifies the very best public service. She's a trustworthy, dependable professional who consistently takes initiative, collaborates seamlessly with others, supports her team with positivity and drive. Her ability to tackle challenges head on, while maintaining a calm and collected presence, makes her an invaluable resource in the office. Monique isn't just a reliable colleague, she's a rock star. Her efforts made impact in both the efficiency of our department and the community we serve. We're lucky to have her on the team. Her hard work will be recognized, and also this was, she covered the office for Diane vote. We received several nominations, so she was voted that. Her picture will hang in the entrance way, so the next one we will be. Congratulations, Monique, and good job with that. Staff changes, we have an open position in town clerk's office, we have a position for full-time police officer, we have a position for public works, equipment operator labor. Obviously, I've worked with Jay at Public Works on a bridge project. We received the audit report back, cross certification, we paid to have done. On Friday, we'll be providing this to you with the next meeting, Jim, and time to start to work on it. And basically, it says what we. Brownfield project for the contaminated wayside downtown rural Lebanon, waiting for us to PDP. The hire a consultant for the repurpose study, so that we get that, they'll start. That's all I have on you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Councilor Conan, Jeff. Okay, Linda. Bill?
Yeah, my comment is that my job is taking me out of town, in July. So I will be stepping down following the, June 24th meeting. That will be my last meeting. I just want to say I've thoroughly enjoyed my time on board, or, the planning board, and then as a counselor, there's a lot of stuff that we're gonna miss about living in South Berwick and the community in general, and one of them is, being a part of the team and, being on the precipice of all these really exciting projects, coming to fruition. So we'll be back in the area a lot, and I'll make sure to come back in 2028, drive through the multiple traffic lights.
Structure goal.
Make a point.
Congratulations. Congrats, Bill. We'll miss you, but congratulations. John?
I'll save my goodbyes until you actually go by.
Yeah.
Other than that, thank you very much to the town staff for the birthday card. That was awesome. The little things that count. It shows in the staff. I was at the town office the other day. The service was awesome, and Monique always leaves people with a smile. Might even give me a little ribbon. So it's very nice going in there. Again, Diane, great job in the office. It's fantastic. That's all I got.
And I just want to thank Ty and Monique for being out at the high school last night for the school budget vote, late along with all the other residents, and that's all being late here tonight. And then I did attend the street town cleanup on 19th. It was a very rainy day, but that makes people move home really fast when it's raining, so it was a good day. And that's all that I have. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion for us to go into executive session, subject to 405-6A personnel. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor going into executive session, say aye. Aye.
All right.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Tyann, I'll send you the usual. Do we want to stay here or go ahead?
You got stuff to find.
We have some.
Inside.
We'll sign. Say, we'll be. Get out of here.